Hey guys, this is Arrest and Ashley, and this is SheWolf Alchemy. And today we are talking about haters. Essentially, let me just ask, Ashley, do you have any haters? Because when you brought this topic up, and we were on the same thought. We're on the same thought. Because you're like, yeah, let's talk about haters. And I was like, I, I, I don't think I have any haters. I've just been keeping to myself. I don't know if I have much to discuss on this topic. And your response was what?
I don't believe that I have any haters. I mean, I've come across. I think I've had experiences that may
Mhm.
have looked like it could have been a hater, but I get. But you know what? Some of it is me though. I believe that I be over here thinking I'm not doing anything worthy of hating on. I'm
Or
like, why would anyone hate on me? I'm just your regular schmegular old. But you never know what other folks got going on, and that's why.
because I had this thought process about it earlier this week. It had crossed my mind because there was some DJ, I don't know, on social media, on the blogs or whatever, just going off about haters and be like, yeah, because if you ain't got 30 haters, whatever, 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 you ain't doing something right. And I was like, I don't even interact with 30 people on a regular basis. So if I got 30 haters, I'm the problem. Like if there's 30 people hate on me right now, I'm probably the problem. I'm probably the problem. And I had this like whole like thought process around it because it was just odd to me because I was reading the comments and stuff and people were like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, any of y'all over the age of 21 that are still actively talking about haters, unless you have a platform where mm, thousands of strangers are seeing and knowing what you're doing on a regular basis,
Mhm.
then I understand because you have that. You see it on social media all the time of, just a celebrity being like, going to the store. And in the comments, they be like, die. You like, what the hell is going on with y'all? You know? So, yes, if you're a person that's exposed to a lot of people, yeah, you probably do have haters because the internet and people just get weird and hateful weirdly. But if you just sue them, who goes to work, comes home, got 150 followers on Instagram. If you have 30 haters, I feel like you probably the problem. Like I just don't.
Yeah. I mean, well, I think what is a hater? I think we have to highlight it a little bit.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
and I was thinking, because I'm thinking the feeling of it is like, well, when the phrase was like popular and everyone was a hater and everyone was wearing hater blockers to keep haters away from
Mhm,
them, brushing haters off. Um, that, it's like this feeling of like you don't want me to shine. You don't want me to be
mhm.
well. You're not wishing me well, which people say now you praying on my downfall, like you're hating on me. You don't you are not wishing me well.
Well, I know for me, when I think about haters, I think about people who do not like you for no reason. People
Mhm.
who purposely are against you, like you said, kind of plotting on your downfall, hoping for your downfall, cheering for your downfall without reason or cause. That's kind of how I consider a hater. And I think that might also be why I'm just always like, do you really have haters? Whenever I hear a grown person talking about haters, I just be like, I don't know, Charles. I feel like you did something to them. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, that's a valid point of like, because it is a perceived thing where I mean, there's a lot of like things that people get really hype about of like everybody's fake and people are unreal and I got haters and stuff. And then if you do a deeper analysis, it's
Now,
these were not genuine connections to begin with, or you may have misunderstood the circumstance because some people, think everyone's being fake to them when in actuality they don't have genuine connections to begin with. Like
mhm.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
So whenever anyone's too I don't know the great way to say it, but I guess like too antsy or too anxious about like everyone's like this and everyone's faking everything. I'm like, you need to do some self-assessment there. You need to analyze a little bit about your group because this is not a people problem. This is something very specific happening to you.
Look, look. And I like that you said that too. Like, oh, so what's the sense? Like, were these genuine connections in the first place? Were these because That's a whole other thing. I know, I feel like I've heard and I've interacted with people and they're just like, yeah, because this person, blah, 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 blah. And then you find out the backstory and you're like, you know this person all of 3 weeks. Why did you tell them that much information?
Right. Yes.
You like, they have made it very clear they're not your friend several times, actually. In the story you gave me, I don't think that was ever your friend. I think you guys always been frenemies. I don't. So why do we trust them to? It's one of those situations where you say, okay, but let's assess the scenario because you were expecting friendship from someone who was never your friend. Was that being flippy floppy? Was that being fake? Or was that really what it is? Like they don't mess with you in that way. So they keep showing up in your life the way they show up and you keep being surprised.
Also, are you a hater? Are you a shisty and unsupportive person? I mean, that's
Or
because that's one thing. Whenever people say like, "Oh, that's why I don't have any friends," or "No one's supportive," I'm like, "That's crazy." And then I reflect and be like, "I have great people in my life, but I also consider myself like a good asset to my friends. Like, I think I'm a good friend, and so that's probably why I got good friends." And that's not to say that you can't be a good person with trash people around you, but you gotta again look at some things. Um, but yeah, if you're someone who's typically unsupportive of people and put them down and things like that, you might be getting that reverberated back
back.
to you.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't come to my grand opening. I didn't want to come to yours, which you don't have to be petty like that, but let's be real. If you're not as supportive of others,
Yeah.
chances are they are less likely to show up to be supportive of you.
Yeah.
So
No, that's real. That's real. Doing that deep dive, doing that assessment. I think one of the things that always kills me about this conversation, and again, I'm not saying that haters don't exist. I think they definitely exist. I think it's just not in the numbers that we say they exist on. Um, is going back to that idea of like, okay, while we're doing this assessment, did you do something to cause this person to not like you? And how
Mhm.
much of it really is they just don't like you. It's not necessarily hate, it's the consequences of whatever interaction y'all had that they was like, I do not like them. And they just kept that feeling. And to me, I don't know. I don't really think that's a hater. I just think that's a person who does not like me. And that's fair. Like I look at it like that's fair. I be doing some shit sometimes.
But people can also not like you and not like wish you ill will. Like I have plenty of people that I just don't consider a part of my life. I don't care what they do. They have nothing, so I'm not actively like there's like to hate on someone requires energy. And so
Right.
even someone that you have around though, yeah, they could be treating you a certain way because like you said, like you've done something that's caused them to be like, stay over there. But they also are probably not a hater because they're probably not that concerned with you. They probably would just like for you to stay away from them
Yeah.
and not interact with them. They're not necessarily wishing you ill will. Now, if you are that person that's like, I just don't like that person. I don't know what it does to my spirit, but I just don't wish them well. You need to you need to assess that. You can dislike somebody and not have hate in your heart for them.
But you don't have to plot on their downfall. We talked about this in an episode recently. By the time y'all guys get this episode, I need to stop saying that because we are recording them and not releasing them always in order.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
You would have said this multiple times by the time
we
you hear
might.
it.
But it's making me think of that. Like we recently recorded an episode where we talked about forgiveness and we talked about revenge. We're like, hey, you can decide not to forgive a person. It does not mean you need to seek vengeance. Like you can just be like, yeah, I don't fuck with you. I don't fuck with what you did. It's not okay. But I'm releasing it. Like I don't have to keep holding on to this. And we talked about like the other side of that is like there are some people like seek vengeance and you don't have to. It's not 18th century England. We can just let go.
Cristo ass.
Huh?
Oh, I said, "Oh, Count of Monte Cristo ass," showing up
Look,
a lifetime later with the new identity.
look, look. If you believe
Oh
in
my
karma,
god.
like let that be your revenge. Let karma handle that shit. Um, but yeah, like I think I don't know. When we and again, when we were talking about, like, writing this episode, and I thought about it, and we were, like, having this, like, "Okay, do I have haters? Do I have anybody hate on me?" And I was thinking on it, like, "Okay, do I hate anybody?" And I don't think I can't think of anybody right now. I
So
can't. I can't think of anybody right now that I actively hate.
so I do not actively have hate for nobody, but I have been a hater. It happened in a moment and I felt it and I was like, "Damn, is that what that feel like?"
Mhm.
One of my best friends was going to something that I really wanted to go to, and he was being so flippant about it because he had the money to go and he could just go. And he was talking to me about it, and and I was pissed off. I got mad.
Mm,
And I was being snappy, because we were on the phone about it, and I was like, "Oh, you don't even care about this experience, and da, 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 and you're just going
mhm.
because you can afford to." And he was like, "Why do you hate that I have money?" And I was like, "Oh, shit," and I had to do some self-assessment, figure out what was really going on, and I was like, "Damn, I was for real being a hater." Like and I had to look within myself and be like, "You too can have the things that you want in life." Like, it doesn't like, he's allowed to enjoy his things, like, just because you da da da, and had to really
Check in
so
with yourself.
yes, so it has happened. I felt it. This little green monster. I think it's also so it's envy to an extent.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've had moments of being a hater. I just can't think of them right now. But also, like, since the pandemic, I really been in, like, hermit mode. Like, I really just been chilling with myself, by myself, enjoying my own company. So it's been kinda hard. I haven't been interacting with folks. So that might also be why I'm in this space of, like, why y'all got haters? I don't even interact with folks. Like, I'm not even out here talking to people. If somebody's hate on me, I would be very surprised because 'cause I'm also not letting people know what I do. Um but yeah, when I thought about it, like I at least in the last 2 years, I can't think of one person I have actively hated. Not even on hater mode, but just like there's people I'm like, I don't like, I don't fuck with. Why do they do that? And then that's where it ends. Like, unless the topic is actively brought up and I have to be like, yeah, they're weird. I don't know why they do that shit. That's the end of the thought. Um, and I recognize that not all people are like that, but I think I have to like stop and remind myself now people are like that because every now and then I have to interact with a person and they are like actively like vengeance upon them, their mother and their dog. And I'm like, you are really walking around carrying this. That's interesting. I thought we all were just letting go, letting God. Just
Right.
walking through life and not holding on to these things.
Um, I know there was a time like well, every now and then I overhear. I remember the first time I really had the experience of overhearing what someone like thought about me, someone who I didn't know and who didn't feel should have an opinion of me. It was like a basic thing that happened at work.
Mhm,
And because someone put the person on speakerphone, not realizing and the person talking didn't know I was in the room.
mhm.
And so she was like, "And that Ashley, she just ain't right. She be da da da." And I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, never. And I walked out the room because I was like, "What the hell?" But I really was like, I've never, and it doesn't matter. But that was my first time really hearing like, I was like, "Oh shit, people talking shit about me." Like, what
Like,
did
that's
I do?
amazing. I didn't know y'all did not
I
realize that.
stay in my own lane, and but also this person was someone who kept trying to do my job, and I had to keep asserting boundaries with her and putting her
Mhm,
back in her spot. That was lit, and those were really the only type of interactions we really had. For the most part, I try to be, I'm a good old Southernish girl.
mhm,
I try to be pleasant with folks and polite. And so I'm like, I've never done, but that was literally it's mostly that she kept stepping over her line. I had to keep saying, uh-huh, yeah, thank you. I got it. That's my job. Please go back over that way.
mhm.
Appreciate you. And she didn't like that shit. And I really think that's what it was. And the lady had formed this whole I don't know, because I heard more about the conversation afterwards, and I was like, I don't understand. So
I don't know what that was. Fascinating.
maybe she
But also that goes back to that, like, okay, but did she have a like, for her, it was 'Cause you ain't doing it your job right, and you
I was doing
keep
my job
insisting
right.
on doing it wrong,
I was doing
and
my job fine.
I
That's
am
what I mean by
judging you for listening.
self-reflection. No. Are you a busybody in my goddamn business?
Oh my gosh.
'Cause that's what she was doing, being a
Yeah,
busybody. And there's nothing wrong with me asserting my boundaries. So if you feeling all riled and fired up and yes, that's why you don't like
you and
somebody.
your damn shoulders. I love you and your shoulders. Just there's just so many videos of you on Instagram having a conversation, and then your shoulders get to popping. I'm like, "Oh, she passionate. Them shoulders. She got them shoulders popping." That's how I know she passionate because her shoulders. Some people you can tell by their face, you can tell what's going on with Ashley by her shoulders.
Just saying. You need to look at yourself. 'Cause I mean, I remember working with a lady that everyone just adored, and I could not stand that lady. She just got under my skin. I didn't wish on her downfall. She just got under my skin, and I had to really be like, "Why? What is it?" Because it took me such effort to be cordial because she just irks me.
Mm,
But I didn't wish on her downfall. I just, so that's what I'm it's like before I would never be with somebody and be like, something just ain't right about her. I would never say no mess like that. You get what I'm saying? That's why I'm like for this other
but
lady.
you know what? I have recently have you know which experience I'm talking about where I'm just like something off with this person, and I can't quite put my finger on it.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
definitely I do have a person that I'm just like, they keep doing weird things to me, and I don't know why.
right. But if somebody asked you about that person, you wouldn't be like that piece of trash or
Oh, no. No.
you wouldn't speak poorly of them.
Mm-mm.
Don't sit around meditating on their downfall.
No, not at all, not at all. If anything, all I do is just call Ashley every time they do something new, and I'm like, "Am I tripping? Because this person is doing this thing, and I don't know why they're doing this thing, and it
Like
doesn't make sense for them to do this thing. Am I tripping? Or are they being weird?"
talking shit about folks is hater activity, I
Mm,
believe.
mm,
Again, you can have strange interactions and there could be people you don't like, but you don't have to be
shit talking.
yeah.
That's what makes the difference, is when it's not constructive, it's not informative, it's not, "Hey, pondering, what do you think about this situation?" It is when you're actively talking shit and being like, "Blah, blah, blah," for no other purpose than to talk shit.
Mhm. I would
I can
call
get
that
down with that definition.
I would call that hater activity, yeah.
Hater activity. Now, I will say though, I went through that phase. I think we all did in like '09 of like having the shirts that say "Bye hater," of like '06 of being like on MySpace and be like, "'Cause these hating ass bitches wanna be me, want my spot." Definitely remember going through that phase, but I was also a teenager. You
Mhm,
know, '06, I was like 15. Like that was everybody was a hater.
mhm.
Everybody was a hater. But again, that goes back to, yeah, like I was 15. My concept of you not liking me was like you are instantly a hater, and that's what you are, and you can stay there and hate. And then feeling the need to be vocal about those haters. Now, at the same time, I think you kind of gotta look at like the age, the time, and everything. But even when I'm thinking about now, like grown ass people that are walking around talking about their haters, and they interact with all of like 50 people a year, the same 50 people a year, is like your emotional maturity. Because
Mhm.
at some level, I do wonder if it's just a matter of like, okay, if somebody does not like you, can you just let that go? Like, can you just, does it have to be a thing? Do you have to be concerned about it? Does it have to be a hater? Does it have to be a, because as you were talking about your experience at work, I'm like, oh, you know what? Over the last couple years, I did. My last job that I left, I did have people who did not like me, but also I was at the end of my rope. Like when I left that job, I was definitely not caring at all about people's feelings, about blah, blah, blah. And I, at least now, I know I definitely don't, but I don't think at the time looking at it as haters, more so looking at it as like, if they could stop emailing me, that'd be great. Like, I don't remember my mind thought going past that at like, work or after work. I don't remember. I remember logging off and just going about my life and not thinking about these folks. And so I had to read another email from them.
Yeah.
Mm,
I think it also when you need a lot of outside validation, 'Cause, like, when you keep saying, like, yeah, is it just that somebody just doesn't like me or just isn't giving me that's what it makes me think of, is, like, if you're a person who needs a lot of outside validation, I think you
Mhm,
can easily feel like you got haters because
mhm,
people aren't showering you with
mhm,
whatever it is your expectations are.
mhm.
But I think for those of us who are more content with ourselves, keeping to our own stuff, my world is small, I'm not worried about other people, that's when you don't have one, you don't have time to notice what somebody else is really thinking about you,
Mhm.
and you're not worried about it because you're doing your own thing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely agree with that. So maybe yes, you technically do have haters, but if you have a lot of contentment, it probably is not interacting with your life. Because if you're your average person, for the most part, when people have haters, it's oh, they say little things behind my back. They're making little comments. And again, if you're your average person, they shouldn't really be reaching you on a regular basis. If they are reaching you, like, what are you do? Are you digging for them? Do you have friends that keep reporting back to you? Do you have blah, blah, blah? And then what can we do to stop that? You can kind of cease fire to some of that. Now, if you are a person that's interacting with the public large platforms, I do think that is completely different.
Mhm.
I do think that is completely different. I don't know why this has been a thing for me. And I know you know this is a thing because I feel like I bring it up to you all the time. And you're just like, Chris, why? Uh, but like I've been noticing like just how people interact with celebrities a lot lately. And I'm sure I've been a 19-year-old with Twitter who have said stupid ass things. I'm sure. I can't remember right now, but I know I was 19. I know I had social media and I know I was stupid at one point. So I'm sure that all combined. But as a woman who's like 31, I sometimes like stumble across certain pages on social media and it just like really irks my soul when I see people being mean to celebrities for no fucking reason. And I know
Mhm.
we shouldn't care. They're millionaires. They shouldn't be worried about this, but like they're real lives people. They're
Yeah.
real people and it disturbs my spirit when I'm just like looking at, I don't know, somebody's a picture, especially of like a celeb with a child and people going in on the child. And I'm like, the fuck is wrong with y'all? Like,
It's
why do y'all have what even if you don't like them, what made you have to let type that out? Or why
Mhm.
can that thought stay in your head? You really and I think it was Cardi B who did like an interview or something somewhere. She was talking about like internet hate and she was talking about the type of things she gets said to her. And it was just so vile and disgusting because as much as people want to say, like, oh, you can just ignore that. Yes. When it's 3 or 5 people, you can ignore it.
Yeah.
Maybe even when it's 30 people and you're interacting with like 100, then maybe you can ignore that's still a lot. But it's something else if like I can't even go on the internet without hearing how horrible of a person you think I am, how ugly you think I am, how fat you think I am, how blah 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 blah. That is like to me some real hate and I
Mhm.
think that is very, very different than as simple as, oh, well, I can ignore it because it's one thing to ignore a couple people. It's another thing where like that's what I met with every time I turn on this app.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I low key want someone to do a study around trolls because what the fuck do y'all get out of that?
No, that's a valid point.
Kind of like you were saying with your moment where you were like, I realized I had a moment where I was being a hater to my best friend. And I was like, what is that? Like at some point, you should be able to, it should feel odd to you to hate. Like you should, like when you have a hater moment, I feel like if you're not naturally a hater, you should be like, what was that? Poke that at me. I don't
Yeah.
like that I reacted that way. And if you don't, okay, let's talk about why feeling hating feels natural to you. You can't check it.
Like you said, trolls too. Like though, when I think of a troll, I do think of people who kind of just like go out of their way to just poke at somebody to just you know stir up a reaction, and that really is something that should be assessed and looked at. But then
Mhm.
again, there's people whose whole careers are built off of that.
Girl.
So it's
As you
just
were saying that, one of those people's pop into my head, and I was just like, "Mm,
yeah, as a society. We need to really understand what the hell that is, why getting a jab at somebody else's expense or a laugh at somebody else's expense is so exciting to
mm,
people, why dropping a comment just to stir up bullshit is so exciting. I don't because like you said, like what does that feel like? Like it's just to just be unconstructive in that way and just this is like because there are people who do this on purpose
Mhm.
and they love it.
I think there's some people who do it for the laughs and the likes of, like, other people, that I think that goes back to that needing to be validated, but there's some people that's like, "No, I specifically want to see this and hurt."
Mhm,
Like, they don't care nobody else laugh, they don't care, like, they just sending it to people's DMs or whatever the fuck they're doing, and that is so fucking odd to me. Like,
mhm.
I
So
legit don't get it. There's some stuff that I'm like, "Oh, okay," like, I don't agree with it, but I get, like, "Oh, she dating your ex. You still in love with him." I don't agree with that. That, like, okay, we have to have feel a certain way towards that girl, but that may I can in my head, I can see why you have that connection, where that hate comes from. I understand that, but they're the people that are just like, "I don't know this person. I've never met this person. I don't like her head shape. I feel like she should know." That I don't get. Like, that I don't understand. My mind does not connect to, like, why you feel the need to let this person know this very hateful thing. Especially, again, after a certain age. Like, when you're younger, your mind not developed with it don't develop to 25, 5. To 25, you get passes of being underdeveloped, mentally underdeveloped, okay? But when you, like, in your late 20s and this is, like, a still average part, I'm just like, "What does that do for you?" Let's examine that.
what does evoking the feeling do? Even well, specifically speaking on haters, like you were saying, you heard the DJ saying, "If you don't got 30 haters, you ain't doing nothing." So
Mhm.
like, what why want to invoke that feeling?
Look,
That don't sound good for me energy-wise.
that really to me sounds like some
If you don't got 30 people manifesting hate against your dreams, you ain't doing shit. I don't want that. I
I don't
just
want that either. It really feels like that's one of those, like, let's normalize some personal shit that's going on with me. Like, this is a personal issue you have going on with
If you
you.
ain't stepping on others to get where you going, like, those are the types of things.
Me and you recently talked about a particular radio show where you had made a post and you were just like, "How do people listen to this? Ignorance all day." You're like, "I don't understand how people listen to this all day." And I had wrote you back because you had posted on Instagram and I wrote you back because I was just like, "Girl, right." I'm like, "I have never got into this show because I remember years ago, my brother was trying to get me to listen because me and my brother, like, we bond through music. So we'll send each other different stuff. And he was saying something. He was like, "Oh, yeah, they did an interview on this show." And I was like, "I don't watch them." He's like, "What? What? You don't like them?" I was like, "No, no, I don't." And we had to, like, go through this convo of same thing. I was just like, "C First of all, they don't even interview good. It's not even an interview. It's not even an interview. It's just one person saying ignorant things while they bring on a person who's an expert at something else, who never gets to explain what they're expert at, what they're doing, what their field is, what their new whatever it is they're trying to promote. The other person is just gives off annoying little kid energy
Yes.
the whole interview.
Middle
And
school
you, the listener,
humor,
sit there like, I ain't learned nothing.
but I
I
guess you're not trying to, but I know people, and Imma crack this open
Mhm,
with a friend of mine because this person is very insightful. We have such good conversations.
mhm,
And they have said, "Oh, I was listening to blah blah blah, and this topic was brought up, and I blah 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 blah." And because he's insightful, it's but really that experience of just the other day, because I don't be listening. I
mhm,
don't be listening to that show.
mhm,
So I don't know what people are hearing there. But again, I was like, "Oh, here's someone who's on here who's speaking about a topic that so let me see what the approach is. Maybe it's more relatable to certain
mhm.
types of
Maybe
folks."
they're only like that to certain types of guests.
Maybe.
Mhm,
But
yes,
no, you're making
no.
penis jokes, and I mean, he made I just couldn't take it. I anyway.
But the reason I brought that up
I know. It's upset me. I'm like, "What is going on here?" But go ahead.
Yeah, no, the reason I brought that up was to be like, very early on, I was like, I think their approach is just trolling. Like, I think it's just
People whose
they're not
whole
that
job it is.
direct, huh?
Who people who whole job it is to troll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, with that particular show, I was like, "Okay, I recognize that that particular host, their whole thing is to troll." Like that's what their whole gimmick is. They made that their whole job. And I think they are a lot slicker at it than some people that you immediately know is trolling. Then there's some people, there's some personality types that you are like, where you're just like, I don't even think you're a rapper anymore. I think you're just a troll. Like that's what you do at this point.
Yeah,
Cool. Versus him, I feel like they keep trying to tell us like he's so blah blah blah. But like he's really a professional troll. Like let's
girl,
just be honest, he's really a professional troll. If we really look at it, that's really,
really.
and there's some people
Every
that seem to like it. So it is what it is.
they quote this man, and I just really, I be like, are we talking? Maybe he's involved. That's what upset me. I had it in my mind that maybe over the years that I was not listening, this person had evolved.
No, no.
Not. But what the hell is going on?
But I mean, and that kind of goes back to like, but what are we doing right now? Is what we're doing right now hating? Or is it a formative conversation? Because somebody can come in right now, like, what y'all doing right now is hating on that man.
Well, we're literally going out of the way to not say their name. So I would say it's not necessarily hate. It is definitely, well, one, because it fits with the topic. Number one. Number two,
And guys, this is how haters convince themselves they're not hating.
no, no, because we're talking about and that and like that being a professional troll is this person's job. Number
Mhm.
two, again, we are actively not saying this person's name or anything. So we're not specifically just talking shit. And three, it is constructive. If you bring someone on to interview them, come on. Like if that person would like
No, no,
constructive,
that's the part that irritates you the most.
it really bugs me.
You know.
It has always bugged me though, not just in that, even on like the like back in the day when I was like a CNN junkie.
Mhm.
Um Pierce Morgan sucks too. And I'll say his damn name. It's a terrible interview. And I remember he had somebody okay, don't talk. But I remember the first time I realized that that was something that got under my skin, and it was because of him. And he had someone on there that was like a that was pro gun, and
Mhm.
he was arguing against it. Okay, fine. They're having a debate about this or a discussion about this,
Mhm.
and the guy was making like a point, and it wasn't an invalid point, and I wanted to hear his point. And Pierce was just like, "You just love guns, and you just blah blah blah," and he was just being like he was just cutting him off and being argumentative and all this stuff. And the man ended up kind of just stopped speaking because he wasn't getting any words in. And I was like, well, what the hell you bring him out here for?
No.
You're watching it, trying to thinking you're about to have an intelligent discussion, curious to hear all sides of this. And you literally just overtalk this man. Like you got a whole show.
There's definitely certain shows that I see clips of because you know on the TikTok you can't escape it. You looking for beauty hacks and TikToks. It's just like no, you're gonna have to see this person. There's just nothing to do with your taste, and now this is just a part of your algorithm. But I'll see like little clips of shows, and I'm just like, at this point, people gotta know who these people are and what their stance is. Why y'all keep going on there?
That's true. That's very true too.
There's definitely some shows where I seen clips of people just being ambushed, and I'm like, did nobody in your team do any research on them? Did they know what they were setting you up for? This is what they've been doing for the last 10 years. You had to know this is what you were getting into.
That's real. You're right.
Even I'm thinking like the Eric and Andre show. Eric Andre? Is that his
Hmm. Yeah.
show? And I remember when he first came out and we really didn't know who he was, what he was doing. And there was like, I think it was an episode with like T.I. And T.I. clearly had no idea what he was walking into and was definitely like, the fuck y'all got me. And I'm like, yeah, but like how many episodes does it take for people like, okay, so I'm gonna come in to some foolishness. And if I'm not okay, the silliness.
Yeah.
This this is silliness. And if I'm not okay with silliness, maybe I
Gotcha.
should not go on. But there's some people that have been on for like 10 years and like that's their routine. And just somehow they keep getting people to fall for it.
Because people think they never mind. Because I don't know, maybe people think they're above it. They're
Maybe
like,
they're like,
I can
okay.
dodge that. No, this person is a professional. That's what I forget. That's even like that's like side note. Like people who are like, I'm gonna manipulate this narcissist. No, you're not. No, you're not. They're better at it than you. Just back off. Go somewhere else.
Also, why would you? Why would you want to? As someone who literally had to deal with a narcissist, when I say narcissist, I'm not talking about the, oh, they're mean to me. My ex hurt my feelings. So I'm gonna call them a narcissist. Like, no, genuine, I shouldn't be diagnosed, but they keep avoiding a psychiatrist. Narcissist. Why?
I'll handle them.
Why?
I'll just put them over here and then I'll try this tactic. Aha! Doesn't
No,
work.
the best way to handle them is just to cut them out of your life. Like, don't to be
They're bad.
plotting and planning and scheming and blah blah blah. You can just not interact with them. You just don't. You don't have to interact with them at all. You can just not. It's a thing. You can be like, it's cool. I'm good.
So yeah, I wouldn't feel the need to go up against a troll if someone was like, "Hey, over here on our show, we talk about how much we hate women and
Oh my gosh.
they
Yes. Ladies, let's stop going on their shows, arguing with them. We don't just leave them to their own devices. I don't understand it.
yeah.
I really don't. I really don't understand it. Yeah, every time there who was it? I don't know. It's I don't know, but it was some show that I'll admit, like, I don't watch your show, so I don't know. This is just what the internet told me when they were going through a thing that they hate women. That's their whole platform. Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
Maybe they talk about other stuff. They probably talk about a little bit of sports, but the internet told me their whole show is about how they hate women. And that's just their thing.
Yeah.
But every clip I have ever seen of them that gets posted on my timeline by someone, gotta figure that out, delete them. Um, it's just them with a whole bunch of women and them talking to them and disrespecting them, and I'm just like, "But why do women keep coming on? Like, why why we
Mhm.
get why we get set up with that okey doke?"
Again, think you're gonna outmaneuver something or it's gonna be I really don't know, but just I wouldn't I
And
wouldn't blame.
maybe you can. There are some people I have seen outmaneuver the whole again, the Z-Way girl who, again, kinda, she's one of those, like, I mean, kind of a troll, but also kinda not a troll. But I saw clips of her and Hannibal Buress, and Hannibal Buress handled the fuck out of that one. Like,
Mhm.
every clip I've seen of their interview was good, like, he had the energy to match. Like, he knew what he was getting into, and he was like, "Oh, we gonna verbally spar? Okay." I love verbally sparring. But also, he's also a professional comedian. He also is a person who was, like, on the Eric and Andre show, so he has been paid to verbally spar as well. And it went good, and it was great. The clips I saw, I was like, "Oh, this is really, really good. I like this energy together. Let's see if we can make y'all a thing." So there are some people that can do that, but, like, a lot of us can't, and that's okay. And, like, why put ourselves in those positions? It's very different to watch a clip, pause, talk about it with your friend, have a couple witty comebacks, be like, "Oh, I can do this," than being in front of the person and have to do that in real time. I'll say it like this because I remember having a friend in undergrad who was, like, a communication major, and maybe this was me being a hater, like, having a moment of being like, "Girl, why? Like, why are we studying communication? Like, girl, get a real like, you might wanna change majors. You might wanna." And then having to help her, she was doing this, like, news report type thing for the school, and having to help her, and they were, like, playing around the camera, and they just needed somebody to do it, and having to get in front of a prompter and try to read on camera, and was like, "I think I'm stupid," because I could not read, like, the prompter was going fast, I was messing up my words, I was, and I was, like, having this whole moment of, like, "Okay, this is why
This is why
people
this
like
is
to
a
go
thing.
to school and study this. This is harder. Being a news," even have that realization of, like, "Oh, y'all know news anchors, they just sit there and read it. They don't even write it. They just reading what people gave them. They just sit there, get their makeup done and their hair done, and read it." And then having that moment, we're like, "No, they deserve the big bucks." That was very nervous. That was very I could not read on camera. That terrified me. That went horribly, horribly wrong.
That is such a valid a great experience to share because that goes back to our do that deep dive. You know, some
Look,
if you find yourself hating on something in particular, maybe look a little bit more into it. Maybe you need some further education on it. Maybe it's not what you think. Mhm. That's funny. Because I've had things like that where you have an experience and you're like, "Oh, okay. No, give them what they asked for."
yep, yep. They
This is
They
a legit profession. Like, it's kinda the same but not, but, like, I remember, back when pole dancing classes were popping,
Mhm.
and, I tried to do a pole dancing class, and they're like, "Use your core, lift your legs, do," and I just could not. And I was
Girl,
like, "Those women are acrobats, okay?"
look,
Like,
look, I have never been mad at the strippers. Y'all
"No,
are doing
never."
amazing
It's a
work.
skill. It
Y'all
is a
are doing
skill.
amazing work.
Like,
I might be a hater because 'cause I'm very jealous at the some of y'all abilities. I'm very jealous at, like, I got some really good technical skills. Like,
okay.
if you in there, the visuals is what I don't have down yet, but it's okay. It's okay, I'm working on it. Y'all doing amazing.
Core strength, then you have to be elegant.
Mhm,
Like, goodness, yeah. I was like, "This is a whole skill." Like,
mhm.
bravo to them ladies, cause I can't do it. Yeah, sometimes you might need to do a deep dive into something you find yourself ruminating on too much. You worry
Yeah,
too much about what somebody has going on over there, what they're doing. So I guess we do come back to the fact of like maybe there are haters that exist.
yeah,
Anybody who is experiencing the hater hatey relationship needs to do some sort of deep dive in that because again, if you tuned into you, I don't think you got time to hate on other folks, nor do you really have time to worry about what haters are saying.
mhm.
But but yeah, if like even with that, if you find yourself thinking too much about what somebody else got going on, what some department doing, so much so that you talking shit, you might want to go. You might need to do a deep dive as in what is that for you? Or is there something you don't know or understand about the situation that you need to go look into?
But also with that, like we said, it's not to say haters don't exist and hate doesn't exist. It does. There are definitely haters. Some people, yes, you have haters and it's valid. But with that, I guess my question is, all right, if you have haters, it's real. It's a real thing. Like, no, it is, it's they're really just hate on me. I don't know why. They think they have reasons. I say they have reasons invalid, but it's a thing. Okay, what do we do with that? Do you embrace the hate? And in what way do you embrace that hate? I feel like I hear people all the time yelling out, or maybe this is I think maybe this is a 90s baby thing. Maybe they only yelled this out in like '04, but that whole my haters is my motivators type
Mhm.
of mentality. Like, do you use that to motivate you? Like, ha, I gotta make 3 more haters today. Gotta make them mad. Or embrace it another way of like, okay, let me take let me jot down your valid concerns. Maybe use this as constructive criticism.
Mm.
What are you doing with that hate? To be honest with you, I'm probably just ignoring it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just once I find out about it, like, I'm not what am I gonna do with it? I'm not gonna go and confront everybody about it. I'm not gonna go, I'm just, that's how you feel. Okay, now that I know that's how you feel, now I know how to move when it comes to you and going about my life. But yeah, I don't think I'm really one of those like my haters are my motivators type. Like I don't run off hate. It doesn't fuel me. I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good. I like to drop it there then. Like, "Ah, that's how they feel? Alright. Mm,
Yeah.
put that in that category and just kinda go on about my life without it." I try.
I think like you said, it's a numbers ratio. So like, yeah, if we're talking about I have thousands of people paying me some attention and like then okay, maybe some of those haters can be, ah, you mad. Maybe you can have a moment or two like that. But yeah, in a small circle, if you got haters in your small circle, like I need you to like you were saying, either constructively look at this, take them away. But
Mhm.
you can also I am a big fan of like if it's people that you want in your circle that is worth trying to confront the issue to attempt to see what's up.
If they're hating, not if they're haters. 'Cause if you're a hater, I don't want you in my circle. Like, I don't care how much I
Like if
love you.
like if hater is your personality.
Like, if hater is your personality, I don't want you in my circle.
Right.
You're just
Okay,
hating on me about a particular thing and I love you, then yes, I guess we can
that's
do the
fair.
mature thing and talk about it and blah, blah, fine, fine,
You're yeah,
fine.
it's like I said, my homeboy checked me, like, "What the hell is your problem, man? Like, why are you mad?" It's like, "You right, I'm mad, mad. Let me think about that."
Mhm.
Let me figure out what was going on there, because that was very unnecessary. And then it allows for us to become better friends, right? Because I could have just held on to my hate, been upset and resentful and jealous and envying all sorts of things towards this person. And then he could call to tell me about his experience. Man, I had such a great time. And I'm, fuck you. And I'm just saying. It could
That
have
would
really
never
made
be you to be like, "Fuck you."
no, I would never do that. But, you never know because I don't hold envy in my heart. That's why. But you never know what these things could fester into if you sit on resentment and don't assess yourself.
I was thinking about this earlier this week of, like, I wonder if anybody ever listens to our podcast, and they just be like they just talk about how great they are. I don't really I don't really find this. They seem to think they're very great and enlightened people. So,
I have a problem with that. Um,
I promise you,
because
you both have issues.
I think that we
Get it
share our
out
flaws.
half the time.
We
Uh,
share our flaws aplenty. We share plenty of flaws and growth, but
mm,
it's okay. It's cool to have flaws. It's also cool to grow from them and learn from them. And I don't have to hate me just because I got flaws. Come on now.
right. No, I look, look, look. I feel like the whole first season of SheWolf was just me being like, because I'm a mess. Let me tell y'all.
Yeah. Maybe that's something. Like, be your own celebrator. Don't be your own hater.
Look,
Celebrate it for yourself,
mm, look. But no, yeah, I agree with that. I feel like, yeah, if it's just a matter of like a situation, overall, they're a good person. I hate on you. Yes, you can. Okay, what can I constructively take from this? And whatever, whatever. But also, like, if this is a mass thing and you've done the reevaluation, some of the stuff is just, bro, that's just me. I know, I'm working on it. I don't know what else you want from me. Um, or some of it is just like, I mean, you seem to feel like that's a valid point. I disagree. Yeah, you can just leave it. You can just leave it. I guess there are some people that literally can make like, I'm gonna prove it to y'all. And I think that's more of a personality thing. I'm just not. I'm just not a I'm gonna prove y'all wrong type person.
So, yeah, it's more like Imma set out to do what, like, needs to be done or what I think needs to happen, but it has nothing to do with proving you wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Who is a better scenario of like, yeah, I'm just not a this is the hill Imma die on type person. Like, I'm just not. I'm just not. Like, I'm very much a like, "Huh? You said I gotta alright, well, let me reevaluate. Let me no, word, valid point, thank you, thank you." Like, I'm not a, "No, this is my thing, and Imma prove to y'all blah, 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 blah." If there's something I wanna do, Imma do it, but it's never gonna be a matter of because 'cause Imma prove y'all wrong. But also that's that having to and I think some of that for me personally is because growing up in a space where I felt I needed a lot of validation on more and not from very specific people. A lot of validation to feel like, okay, am I doing this right? Am I making y'all happy? Am I blah, blah, blah? And when you get out of that, then just kind of be like, never again. Never. I'm good. I'm good. That seems very, very time consuming and annoying. And I just know I want to do things because I want to do them. Not to prove any y'all anything. Let me go about my business.
This also brings me to thinking about, like, sometimes what we're perceiving as someone being a hater or what have you is them, like, projecting their stuff
Yeah.
to us and, like, saying things that can be very limiting. Like, when I think of that feeling of, like, "Imma prove them wrong," it's those
Mm,
comments that are like, "You can't do it. It's not possible." Whatever it is. Um, and I think, like, I know when I was, for example, trying to move to a different city, like, was
mm,
just like, "I'm over this. I'm doing something different. I'm done." And I knew it was gonna be new, and because I had, thank goodness, had a little bit of practice in doing new things,
mhm, mhm,
knew that this is not a conversation I could have with everybody.
mhm,
And that even for certain people, I had to be mindful of, like, they're saying things out of their own fear, either
mhm,
because they love me and they think this would protect me, or because, again, we don't want people to go through even our perceived fears of things, even if we haven't been through that thing, we're like, I never took that step because I'm too scared of this problem. So,
mhm,
so when you say, "Oh, I'm gonna, quit my job and move to another city," people are like, "Don't do that, you're gonna be homeless."
mhm,
And that can feel like, damn, like you hating on me, you not supporting my thing, or you got something negative to say or blah 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 blah, when sometimes it really is just people projecting their
Mhm.
fears onto you because again, like either they're actually worried and they love you or they scared themselves because it's something they haven't done.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes back to that, like, reevaluation of, like, is this actually really hate? Is this really hate, or is this something else?
Yeah.
Um, and I definitely agree with you on that, like, sometimes there's definitely certain topics or there's certain people I'm just like, I'm not gonna tell them about this. And it's not out of, a matter of, like, "Oh, I don't think." Yeah, I guess one way you can look at it is like, oh, because 'cause they're gonna hate, but I think the way I'm thinking of one particular topic and one particular person, it's not out of so much of like, oh, look at them like, oh, because 'cause they're gonna hate on it, but I look at it as, I know that this is a thing for you,
Mhm,
and this brings up certain feelings and emotions for you because of your own stuff,
mhm.
and I don't want you to talk fear to me because of your own fear around this thing. So after I do it, I'll let you know.
No, I love how you put to talk fear into me because that is what but and that's what I'm saying, like, that's from a more what
Mhm.
we're talking the way we are phrasing it is when you get to the point where you have that awareness.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that awareness, you can be in a, you know, when you're excited about something that's new and things are going on and you talk to friends about it. That's why you have a lot of people who say things like, well, you got to move in silence, which I don't
Mhm.
necessarily agree with because I think you can have trusted people that you share with that can be supportive of you. And I think when you be too silent with stuff, you're cutting yourself off from being able to receive that type of support from people.
Mhm.
But I think that's why people have that experience of like, "Oh, let
Mhm.
me just shut up and do things in silence," because they've had that, excited, I'm sharing, I'm talking to everybody about it, I'm whatever, whatever, and they're getting that everybody's fears and projections and stuff, and it feels so, like, limiting of like, "Well, damn, nobody want me to be well and on my downfall. I maybe shouldn't be, telling folks or,
Mhm.
whatever."
I think it's just that's situational and stuff. I agree with you. I think there's sometimes we hold on to that, like, I need to move in silent type thing because we don't know, blah blah blah, blah, and I've had this experience, and some of us it jinxes. Like, no, because I don't know. It's not even that people are trying to, but something about me saying it make the universe be like, see, now I'm gonna take it away
Mhm.
because I told your ass. You want to talk, so now I'm gonna take it away. Um, but I do agree
Not a
with you,
hater.
huh?
Universe is not a hater. You have to remember
I
that.
don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Universe has the only thing that has been my biggest hater so far seems to have been the universe. Universe been playing fucking games. So yes. Speaking of haters, yes, I thank you, Ashley, for reminding me I do have a hater. The whole fucking
The
universe.
universe wants you to win. It wants you to
Universe be like, you want this? Here, do this, do this. Nah, gotcha, gotcha. I ain't really want you to do that. Now you gotta wait another year. So I don't know. I don't know. Universe. Why would you bring up my pain like that, Ashley?
I just reminding you that the universe wants you to win, and it's not a hater at
Does
all.
it? Okay. Well, well, now you got me thinking about my hater, the universe. It's
Yeah, you
not
need
how
to
I
do some
expected this universe.
self-assessment.
No, I don't need no
You
self-assessment.
need
I've been
adjust.
a year and a half of self-assessment with me and the
Universe
universe.
hating on you, or is it trying to motivate you to grow?
We just discussed that's not how I grow.
Right. So you don't make
We just
obviously you don't
discussed
make the
it.
rules. You you obviously don't make the rules. So again, do some self-assessment and
But yeah, I do think the whole movement silence thing really is, I don't know. I think that is one of those situational things where it is a matter of like, there might be some things, some people might have people who love them that are supportive, like, are people that put out their projections. It's not because they're trying to hate. It's like you said, they have their own fears, they have their own experiences, and they think they're protecting you from something. It's not really necessarily hate, it's their own projections, and they think they're doing it out of love. And so I recognize that there are some things you might have to keep to yourself. There are some things that you might have to, just depending on how your circle is. But I do think for the most part, it goes back to that whole, recognizing like, okay, but is this hate?
Mhm.
Is this hate or is this something else? Because again, I think we lump everything that is not for us automatically as hate. And sometimes again, it's a whole other thing. It's a
Mhm.
whole other thing. A lot of times if you a small town person, again, you're interacting with 50 folks throughout the year, the same 50 folks in and out, and you have 30 of them hating on you, I feel like that's a you thing. I feel like either we need to reassess or that's a you thing. Now you interacting, you on a large scale platform, you got 50,000 people talking about you, then, okay, yeah, that valid, valid. There's probably some hate in that.
I think it's coming down to perceptions and projections.
Mhm. Also, another thing though, I do wanna slide in there is and also people can just not like you, and that's okay.
That's okay too, definitely.
That and then it's not it does not have to be hate. They cannot like you, and that's fine, that's okay. I don't think that makes people a hater.
Mhm.
Sometimes you're just not people's cup of tea, and that's fine.
Really. But I know, okay, even for the, I just wanna make one last comment on the movement and silence thing. One of the things that I keep with me that was given to me when I had a coach was that you can't let everybody hold your baby.
Mm,
So,
mhm.
and that's how I think of it, like, yes, sometimes when something is new, it is so precious and delicate, because I know that some of those things you'll talk yourself out of, or you can allow yourself to be talked out of things that you wanna do, things that are good ideas, things that you really want because of just you shared your baby at the wrong time. So when I think of it like, not everybody can hold your baby. While it's fragile and delicate, those are your close, trusted crew that you'll let hold and care for your baby or be a part of that journey. And then as the baby gets a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, you feel a little more confident letting that whatever that is out into the world. It can hold its own a little bit more and is less likely to be affected by people's comments and people's projections and things like that. So I try to keep that in mind when I think about like something new for me. I'm like, okay, who can I share this baby with? Everybody can't hold the
Look,
baby.
I
And
like that.
recognize that it's not about like because we're it's sometimes it is out of love, sometimes it is out of what, but it's the thought of like, all right, maybe let you know about this baby when it's about one. Or when it gets to this point, and that's when I'll let you know about that.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that statement a lot. Can't let everybody hold your baby. Yeah, some people we do have haters. That's a real thing. That's a valid thing. But let's re-examine first if that's what's going on. Sometimes it is just again projections. It is just people experiencing their own things, wanting to protect you. Sometimes it's just people don't fucking like you, and they're valid in not liking you. That's fine too. Sometimes it is a matter of you might really need some self-reflection. You really are out here doing some fuck shit, and their concerns on that are very valid. One of the big things I think we've circled around is the fact that having haters, though, should not be a normal part of your life for most people, though. It's not something that I think is necessarily that should be celebrated. I think we kinda got to this point in pop culture where it's just like, I know I'm the shit because I got all these haters. And it's like, I don't know, man. That really sounds like you need to be on somebody's couch talking about that, why you have so many haters. And do we need to do that deep dive reflection?
Like I said, perceptions and projections, kind of how you're receiving these things, what you're putting out there. So, like you were saying, do some self assessment. But I still also want to say shout out to my haters. I love y'all. I'm, s- I'm sending y'all love and light because I'm trying to be well. But that's it for this week's episode of She Wolf Alchemy. Check us out on Instagram at She Wolf Alchemy. And you can also email us at shewolfalchemypodcast@gmail.com.
We'll have a new episode for you guys next Sunday. And other than that, bye.
Bye.